your night, but still sing and linger on. Goodbye summer, yes our love is gone, and call it wrong, but I'm moving on. Sweet, sweet summer, oh I wish I may, I wish I might sing a lullaby to say goodnight, for we'll never ever change, for the seasons always change, for I'll never ever change.
Thank you.
I'm a storyteller, and that is my strength. And so I want the story to come through. I always go back to that. Tell the story, you know, and obviously you're going to do that lyrically. You're going to do that with the vocals. But then tell it with the music as well. What's the best way of telling this story? You know I can tell it with just me and my guitar, you know, but for the next album, now that we've had about a year and a half together as an ensemble, the band that I brought together for the recording of that debut EP, which essentially was a solo EP, Tran, Goodbye Summer. You know, it had just my name on it. For this next release, I really want to take that and turn it into a more full band effort.
Nice to see you, singing, singing this
I've got a really, really strong band behind me, you know, just creating beautiful colors and textures together with these songs that I've written. And so I'm really looking forward to this new recording, to be able to show that off on all these songs. But I can't expect them to be more excited about the project than me. You know, I have to be the most excited about it. I got into music and I got into acting and theater all at the same time back in high school. And what I actually studied in school was theater. That's what I got my degree in, was theater and English, and I got my master's in theater directing. And so I went out there and I auditioned and I worked as an actor, and I got professional work as a theater actor. I got commercial work. So after a number of years, I proved to myself I belong. Well, the next step in the journey of an artist is, okay, well, you belong. Well, what do you have to say? You know, what's your voice? You know? And for me, I love the craft of acting, but as an actor, I'm articulating someone else's story. I'm telling someone else's story. And when I got to that crossroads of wanting to tell my own stories, well, I was sitting on all these songs. That was my voice. I already had a voice. I had just put it on the back shelf while I was working as an actor. But it was time. It was time for me to put it out there and to share it with audiences, making a connection with an audience, whether it's one that can relate to me or one that thinks that it can't relate to me because I seem very different from them. I think the arts are wonderful in that they provide instant common ground. You know, everybody likes music. Everybody likes to be told a good story. And when I was recording the Goodbye Summer EP, there's a selection of the songs that are just straight up love songs. They don't indicate what my heritage is or what those experiences were like. But there's one song on there, Girl at the Bakery, which is about me going back to Vietnam and meeting this girl at the bakery in Saigon. I wrote that about a very specific homecoming experience and what it felt like for a Vietnamese American like myself to come back to Vietnam and meet someone who I desperately wanted to help but couldn't. And yet, that very specific Vietnamese American song has been the one that most people have gravitated towards. Of all of the quote-unquote universal songs on that EP, people come back and say, you know, that's the one that really took me somewhere. That's the one I really connected with.
A pretty girl at the bakery, she laughed and said that I spoke funny as she handed me my sweets, oh my sweets. I smiled back but my tongue was heavy, thick and slow, coconut and honey. And already I wanna go home, wanna go home. Sweet Saigon, let me in, lead me on.
My guitarist, Sean Hogue, put it this way. He said, because you were so invested in that story, people then could take that story and extrapolate it onto their own lives. You know, then it's not just about a Vietnamese girl at the bakery meeting this Vietnamese American on a journey home. It's about the girl at the coffee shop or the bank teller guy or anybody you meet. It's not about specific race or culture. But because it's framed in an interesting and colorful way, because it's a story that they might not have heard in that particular way before, they're able to lose themselves in it a little bit. And so that's real joy, to be able to tell a story like that and to be able to connect with it. Like about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I got a message on Facebook from Neil Smith, who does booking in Kansas City, and he asked me, "Hey, you want to open up for Jacob Dylan?" And so that was kind of cool. Jacob Dylan's coming through town with his band to do a show at the Midland. I'm an emerging artist myself, and I'm just starting out, so it's nice to continue to build and forge relationships, but it's not like I have any expectations of Jacob Dylan being like, you know, putting me in his pocket and sweeping me away and taking me to his dad's house to hang out. Opening for Jacob Dylan will expose me to a little bit bigger of an audience than my own core audience, and so that'll be nice. Maybe a few more people will be there to hear what I have to say, and like I said, you know, have that conversation with me, you know, and I with them. I think that you create art for yourself, and you create art for art's sake in the creative space, whether that's your studio, your rehearsal space, you know, your bedroom, whatever. That's where the art happens. What makes a great artist is someone who decides, I do want to share my art with an audience, and I do want to have a conversation. And the best artists know which stories to take out into the world with them. Everyone chooses their journey, you know, and the artist life is no different. It just happens that the artist life is not a one-size-fits-all proposition. So every artist life is going to be different. But that's an amazing thing. Each artist can determine for himself or herself what that means, you know, and what that life looks like. So for me, I'm getting a clearer and clearer picture every day of what an artist's life looks like to me. I try my very best to treat it like I would any other job, you know. People sometimes say, well, you love your job, so it's not really like a job. I'm like, no, I do love my job, and I love my profession and my calling enough to respect it. I have a responsibility to myself and to my craft to do the work, you know, and that means putting in the hours of rehearsal, putting in the hours of research, and putting in hours to work on booking, to work on fundraising, to work on grant research, all the sorts of things that I need to do to sustain myself as an artist. I think as a young emerging artist, you got to do everything you can to do work. Do work, you know, that's one of my main professional mottos. It's so simple, it's so obvious, but you do the work and you just do what you are meant to do, and odds are all that other stuff will fall into place. The last time we talked, I was pretty happy to get an opening slot for Jacob Dylan when he came into town. Well, as things do in the music industry, that fell through. And, you know, I don't think anybody was wronged. I don't think I was wronged, you know. It was a bummer, you know. These things happen. Miscommunication between management and promoters or booking agents, or maybe they just wanted someone else. And that's fine, you know. It all goes back to my professional motto. which is this, nobody owes me anything. I'm not entitled to anything, do the work, and it's my responsibility to make my own opportunities, And going back to the nobody owes me anything ideal, that's exactly it. And that's something that I learned as an acting student, Sometimes it's not about you. You walk into an audition room and you could nail the audition, All things being equal, talent being equal, everybody's got chops. Are you right for the role? Are you right for that ensemble? Maybe everyone else in the cast is 6'2", and it would be weird to have you as a 5'4" Asian actor in the cast. Or maybe it would be hilarious, And so sometimes, I've been there. Sometimes I've been cast purely because of my physical attributes, and sometimes I've been passed over because of that. It has nothing to do with me. What's right for the project, And so with the whole Jacob Dylan thing, it didn't work out, and that's fine, But it's not going to do me any good to sit and pout about it or to act like someone's out to get me or things are unfair. Life is unfair, Life is unfair, but how you deal with disappointment, I think, really determines your quality of life. My family was one of many refugee families that came out of the wreckage of the Vietnam War. My dad fought in the war for the South, and so when the North won, life was real tough back in Vietnam, and it was one of those things where, my dad was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. My mom was born with next to nothing. They fell in love in the middle of a war. And here they were after the war, wanting a better life for their kids, just like any parent would. And so at about the same age as I am now, they made this huge leap of faith, this courageous move to leave everything behind and try to escape Vietnam. And they did it. They did it by foot, by boat, by whatever means necessary. You had to get out of Vietnam, and you had to cross through Khmer Rouge-controlled Cambodia and reach a neutral zone controlled by the World Red Cross in Thailand. And yeah, it was a harrowing journey. We were captured by the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia, and we were in a Khmer Rouge prison camp for a while. But we made it out, and we made it over here. It's hard as a refugee kid because no matter how assimilated you are or how American culturally you are, even though you grew up with these kids and you like the same movies and you like the same music, and you take the same classes, and for all intents and purposes, you're just like them. We joke about the same things. We talk about the same things. You're going to be the Asian kid. You may be their Asian buddy, but you're going to be the Asian kid. The songs that I've written, I've written through my lens. But at the end of the day, they're universal. The loneliness is universal. It's not an ethnic thing. Growing up is hard. Being a kid is hard. Being, an adolescent is difficult. There's no getting around it. No matter where you grow up, wherever in the world you are. My childhood wasn't terrible. It was what it needed to be, And I think that that's true for so many of us. They made this journey for my sister and I to have a better life, And when I was a kid, I thought that meant, well, they brought me over here to become a doctor or a lawyer or something prestigious, And I worked really hard in school to get the grades to be able to do that. But somewhere along the way, I discovered the arts. And then I also discovered that wasn't the answer to the question, Law and medicine are admirable careers, but my parents didn't bring me to America to play out a stereotype or to become a doctor or to become a lawyer or anything specific. They brought me over here for hope. For the hope of a better future, for the freedom to choose my future, And so now I have this platform with my art to spread that legacy, that legacy of hope and determination, and to create art that will hopefully inspire other people to connect with one another and to try to see the possibilities that are available to them in life.
Hooray for time and space, but I cannot escape the endless reports on what she's up to. I guess I'll never know that case of letting go, where everyone can be oh so completely graceful with it all. Oh, so graceful with it all. Graceful with it all. I've got all the time in the world to let you go. To let you go. To let you go.